Very good morning to one and all present here. This is Amit Kumar Singh, and welcome to yet another session uh, of Operation Research. Today in this session, I will do previous year Bangalore City Operation Research paper, which were related to the simplex method. So this all we'll do in today class. So let me. I believe everyone have question paper with you, previous year question paper with you. If you don't have, you can see this question. 115 marks question came from simplex method. You can see this. So 1 minute. So I'll cut this question. Okay. So if you want, please write down this question. From the day one, I'm teaching you this only. So whatever I have taught you till now, based on that, there's a one question which came in Bangalore City. So that question is all about developing equation for LPP model, and based on the equation what you had developed, based on that you have to solve that equation. So this question came for 15 marks every year. If you see the previous year question paper, if you see all the previous year question paper, you can see this. Always you are getting a problem on simplex method. You can see this question number 8. So 12 marks question. So you can understand why simplex method is such an important topic. So that's the reason. I know this is not an easy topic. So I have spent a lot of time with you people doing this, and I'm recording my videos also, so that later on you can watch them. But still I could not see people watching that video. I can see how many people have seen the video. Kind of little bit disappointed with the number of people who are going through that. So again, it's your call. So you need to decide what is good, what is not good. So you can decide accordingly. So my importance will be always to make sure that you get the best of the world. So talking back to this question, you can read this question, that this is a case study which came for 15 marks. So in this case study, they're talking about there's a company which manufactures 3 types of parts which uses precious metal, platinum and gold. So there's a company is there. That company is manufacturing the company is manufacturing 3 products. Okay, so the company is manufacturing 3 products. Those 3 products are given to you, A, B, and C. And in order to manufacture these 3 products, A, B, and C, you need some percentage of platinum and gold. Okay, so it's maybe this product is an alloy of gold and platinum, and so that data is given to you in the table. Product A, for product A, how much platinum and gold you require in grams. So that data is given to you. Okay, then what is given? Due to shortage of these precious metal, the government regulates the amount they can use per day, because you know that these are precious metal. And I believe everyone understands the concept of demand and supply. So based on that concept, you can easily visualize in your mind that why gold is so expensive, why platinum is so expensive, because they're precious. Precious means they are not available randomly around us. If they would be available randomly around us, then they can't be so expensive. Okay, recently you heard in news that somewhere in Uttar Pradesh, people got an alloy of gold. So imagine they're talking about some X thousand tons of gold they found. If they found that gold, this will happen, that will happen. Lot of articles were coming also in newspaper. So I believe you understand why something is expensive. The reason why, what is about demand and supply mechanics. So in this case study they're talking about that only. So due to the shortage of these precious metal, the government regulates the amount that they can use per day, and the relevant data with respect to supply requirement and profit are given to you. So 3 products are given to you, and then they have given you the for each product how much platinum and gold is being consumed for per gram. Like to make one unit, so to make 1 unit of product A, you need 2 gram of platinum per unit, and you need 3 gram of gold per unit, and the profit what you get on A is 500 rupees per unit. So for 1 unit of product A you manufacture, you get 500 rupees profit. For your 1 unit of product B you will manufacture, you get 600 rupees profit. for 1 unit of product C you manufacture, you get 1200 rupees per unit profit. And then they're given you the daily allotment of platinum and gold. Okay, so the first thing what can comes in your mind, the moment you see the problem of LPP, the first thing what comes in your mind is to set the decision variable. So at least in my mind that question comes. I believe the same thing would come in your mind, that when you read the LPP problem, so tomorrow when you see this 15 marks question like this in exam, so the first thing what comes in your mind, that the two variables are given to you. One variables are platinum and gold, and the other variables are product ABC. Okay, so the question can come in your mind that what should I set as my decision variable? So should I take the amount of platinum and gold what you're consuming as your decision variable, or should you set that product ABC, the amount of unit what you're manufacturing for product ABC as your decision variable? So that thing will come to your mind whenever you see this question. To understand, to resolve that confusion in your mind, you always understand that based on the decision variable, you have to set the objective function. So based on the decision variable, you have to set the objective function. And in the objective function, you either have to maximize something or either you have to minimize something. So in order to maximize or minimize, some data should be given. If the problem is about maximization, then they should talk about revenue or profit. If the question is about minimization, then they should talk about cost, something like that. If you see this problem, you are seeing the profits, their data of profit, but the data is given to product ABC. So you will take decision variable on ABC. So that confusion should be cleared in your mind when you read this question, because this is 100% coming for your exam. 100% this is coming for your exam. There's no doubt on that part. So 100% this is coming for your exam. So you can see this question. Now based on this question, what you see, so here what I can see this product ABC, and they're given the maximum, what is the maximum utilization per day, daily requirement that all, daily allotment they're talking about. So maximum utilization per day, if I talk about, the time is very important. So if you see for the platinum, it is 160 gram. You can use maximum 160 gram in a day, and gold maximum you can use is 120 gram. Now based on this problem, what I can do, I can write my decision variable. So I can write my decision variable. So my decision variable for this problem will be 3 unit what I'm manufacturing. Those 3 unit are product ABC. So X1 is the unit manufactured of product A per day, because they're talking day wise, where X2 is the unit manufactured, X2 is the unit manufactured, X2 is the unit manufactured of product B per day, and X3 is the unit manufactured, X3 is the unit manufactured, X3 is the unit manufactured of product C per day. So you have to write this. So how to decide the decision variable? I told you the idea that the decision variable you will decide based on the data about profit or loss or cost if something is given. So first you decide the decision variable. I hope this part is clear with everyone. First you decide the decision variable, then I'll write my objective function. So my objective function is maximization of Z, where you can see the profit is given per unit in rupees. So the objective function is maximization of Z, 500 X1 plus 600 X2 plus 1200 X3. So this is your maximization of Z, and subject to constraint. So if you see the constraint, what constraint is given? What constraint is given in this problem? If you notice, there is no constraint. Only constraint is the utilization of platinum and gold. So where you can see for platinum every day on product A, you are using 2 unit, and product B 4 unit, product C 6 unit. So based on that, you can write the subject to constraint. So subject to constraint, subject to constraint, subject to constraint. So if you notice for platinum 2 unit 2, so if you see that x1 is the unit, x1 is a unit of A what I'm manufacturing, x2 is a unit of B what I'm manufacturing, x3 is a unit of C what I'm manufacturing. On 1 unit of product A, you are using 2 gram of platinum on 1 unit. So for x1 unit, you will use 2x1. Okay, and 1 unit of, on 1 unit of product B, you are using 4 gram of platinum. So if I'm manufacturing x2 unit, so the amount of platinum you're utilizing is 4x2. Similarly, for 1 unit of product C, you're using 6 gram of platinum. So for x3 unit, I'm using 6x3 units of gram of platinum. So you can write the equation, use 2x1 plus 4x2 plus 6x3. So I hope you're understanding. And the maximum platinum you can use in a day is 160 gram. So that should be less than or equal to 160 gram. Similarly, talking about gold you can use 120 gram. So 1 unit of gold on 1 unit of product A, you can use 3 gram of gold. So for x1 unit of product A, you will use 3x1 unit of gold. Okay, similarly, you can write similarly for product B, the consumption what you will do is 2x2, and product C, that is 4x3. So 3x1 plus 2x2 plus 4x3, 324. So 324. So 3x1, 2x2, 324 plus 4x3. And the maximum gold you have is the 120 gram. So the time period is again very important. So when you read this question here, I saw the time period is given to me. The time period was given to me as a daily. So they're talking about daily requirement of the time period. So I just use that period. So here I just use the time period. Now, so I think there's no other, in this problem, there's no other constraint given to us. Now, I don't think for this problem, there's no other constraint which is given to us. So based on, now I just need to solve this problem. And then I'll write my non-negativity restriction. So my non-negativity restriction. So my non-negativity restriction, if I write, so I'll write that as x1 and x2 should be greater than or equal to 0. Shruti, that is given in problem. The last line of the problem. Daily requirement of platinum and gold are 160 gram and 120 gram. Because government knows that platinum and gold are precious metal, so you cannot use them the way you want to use. So you're not shooting for KGF movie so that you can use as much gold as you can. So you have to use limited amount of gold. So here in this problem written, due to the shortage of these precious metal, the government regulate the amount they can use per day, and then they're given the daily allotment of platinum and gold are given to you. Right. Okay, so now based on this, you need to set this question. So once you set this equation, now you know that, now for this problem, you know that it has two constraints. So for this problem, you know that it has two constraints. So you'll introduce two slack variable to convert the inequality into equality. For solving the problem, either you can solve the given problem whenever whenever you formulate the LPP equation. So now I've done the formulation of LPP equation. So first 2 days I have taught you how to formulate the LPP equation. So we learned how to formulate the LPP equation. So once you learn how to formulate the LPP equation, the next thing what you need to learn is to get the value for that decision variable. So here I formulate the LPP problem. Now, when I see, once I created my LPP problem, you can see your decision variables are three. You got three decision variables. Now, for every LPP problem, you can solve that LPP problem either by graphical method, or either you use simplex method, or you use MS Excel solver to get the value. Now here, because three variables you got, because your decision variables are three, so you cannot solve it through graphical method. Now two options left with you to solve this problem. Either you can solve this problem by graphical method, or you can solve this problem by using simplex method. So right now, because in the question paper in exam, they have given us to solve this problem by simplex method, so we'll use simplex method only to solve this problem. Now, when you see the constraint, you can see the constraint. The constraint you have less than or equal to inequality sign. So when you're seeing the inequality sign, the inequality sign is less than or equal to. So when you see that inequality sign is less than or equal to, now you cannot proceed the equation from here. To proceed the equation from here, you have to convert the inequality into equality. So when you're trying to convert that inequality into equality, you introduce some dummy variables. Those variables which you are introducing, those variables we call them as slack variable. So let for the first equation that 2x1 plus 4x2 plus 6x3 less than equal to 160. Let in that equation I introduce a dummy variable called S1. So why I'm introducing that dummy variable called S1? So that dummy variable can make the equation equal. So how the dummy variable will make the equation equal? It will make the equation variable equal by if you know that 2x1 plus 4x2 plus 6x3 is either equal to 160 or less than 160. So when it becomes equal to 160, then the dummy variable will be 0. But all such cases when it's less than, the dummy variable will take the difference of that so that it becomes equal to 160. Because here two constraints are there, we introduce two slack variable. Now I can rewrite the equation. Now after this I'll write introducing slack variable into the problem, introducing slack variable into the problem. Since two constraints are there, in problem, so let two slack variable S1 and S2 are introduced in the problem, so that the inequation means inequality can be turned into equation. So now I introduce two slack variable. Now I rewrite the problem again. Now rewriting the LPP problem. Rewrite the LPP problem. So I'll write maxima of Z is equal to, I believe you have written down all this. I believe everyone has written down all this. So I'm going down. So I'll write maxima of Z. If you want, just take 2 minutes of the time and write this equation. Shruti, I know you would have written. What about others? So anyone want to write this? Please write it down. In your notebook, you want to write this. Please write this in your notebook. So because this is live class, so anyone who watched the recorded version of this class, so for them it's a kind suggestion that they can pause the recording and they can write this equation. So once you written the equation, once you're done with writing this equation, so I'm rewriting this equation like maxima of z is equal to 500 plus 600 x2 plus 1200 x3. Here you are introducing two slack variable. So plus 0 s1 plus 0 s2 subject to constraint, subject to constraint, subject to constraint. So if you write the constraint, you write 2x1 plus 4x2 plus 6x3 plus s1 is equal to 160. And the third equation, second equation, 3x1 plus 2x2 plus 4x3 plus s2 is equal to 120, where non-negative restriction you can write x1, x2, x3, s1, s2, they are greater than or equal to 0. So first time today Lakshmi has messaged. I think Lakshmi is very happy after attending the wedding. So you can rewrite the equation like this way. So you, by after introducing the slack variable, so you could rewrite the equation like this way. So I believe you have written down this also. Once you're done with writing this, then we'll start solving the LPP problem. So whenever we are solving the LPP problem by simplex method, so we'll follow three steps. Those are initiation, iteration, and termination. So by following these three steps, we'll try to get the answer for the problem. So I believe you're done with the writing. Let us start this solving this problem. So when you are solving the problem, you can make table like this. So here I can write your variables are x1, x2, x3, s1, and s2. Where the if you see the objective function, you can write the coefficient. This is 500 x1. This is 600 x2. This is 1200 x3. This is 0 s1 plus 0 s2. And whenever we start solving the basic feasible solution, when we're trying to solve, we always start with solving with slack variable. So 0 s1 plus 0 s2. We always start with slack variable. Okay, so if you write the equation is 2x1 plus 4x2 plus 6x3 plus 1 s1 plus 0 s2. So you can see the equation 1. Now equation 2, if you are seeing, so that is 3x1 plus 2x2 plus 4x3 plus 0 s1 plus s2. Then you can write your RHS. Your RHS are 160 and 120. Okay, so I believe you're done with this. You're done with this part. So I believe you're done with this part. So you written down this. Okay, let me go down then. So whatever we call this as Ci, then we'll find the Zi. Zi is nothing but 0 into 2 plus 0 into 3, that is 0. 0 into 4 plus 0 into 2, that is 0. 0 into 6 plus 0 into 4, 0. Then this is 0, this is 0. Because S1 and S2 are 0, so everything will get 0, 0 only. Then find Ci minus Zi. Ci minus Zi is 500, 600, 1200, then 0, then 0. Then found Ci minus Zi. So once you found Ci minus Zi, out of all Ci minus Zi, see which is having the maximum value. So you can see the maximum value of Ci minus Zi is of x3. x3. So it means x3 will enter into the solution. Now means x3 will enter into the solution. So if x3 will enter into the solution, x3 will replace either S1 or S2. To decide that, we'll find the theta. We find the theta. So theta would be 160 divided by 6, that is 26.67. So 160 divided by 6, that is 26.67. And 120 divided by 4, that is 30. So 160 divided by 6 is nothing but 80 by 3. 80 by 3 is 20, then 26.67. So out of this theta, see the theta which is having the minimum value. So if you see the theta which is having the minimum value is 26.67, it means the variable corresponding to that, that is S1. S1 will exit the solution, and S1 will be replaced by X3, and the 6, which is the point of intersection, will be the pivot element, and 6 will be your pivot element. So you have to do that homework. So once you're done with this, now we'll go ahead. So in place of S1, now write X3. The coefficient of X3 is 1200. The coefficient of X3 is 1200. Then this is S2. This is 0. Now the pivot element is 6. So divide all the element of S1 with 6. Divide all these element. Divide all these element by 6, because your pivot element is 6. Because your pivot element is 6. Because your pivot element is 6. And to find the value of X3, so you have to divide all the element of S1 by 6. So 2 divided by 6 is 1 by 3, and 4 divided by 6 is 2 by 3, and 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 divided by 6 is 1 by 6. 0 divided by 6 is 0, and this value is 160. 160 divided by 6, I can write 80 by 3. Avoid writing in decimal, try to write everything in fraction 1. Now you have to find the value of new value of S2. Now you have to find the new value of S2. To find the new value of S2, what you need two things. To find the value of S2, you need two things. What are the two things you need to find the value of S2? One thing is the old value of S2. To find the new value of S2, you need two things. One thing is the old value of S2. This is the old value of S2, and you need the new values of X3. You need these two things. And when you write the equation, you have to write in such a way that this third column, the corresponding to that, should become 0. You have to write in such a way that corresponding to that variable should become 0. So how it will become 0? If you apply the formula. So while you applying that formula, you have to understand that this part, that you know that your pivot element was 6. You know that your pivot element was 6. So the value which was corresponding to 6, so that would be the constant here. So because then only the equation will become 0. If you see the S2 value is 4. If you notice in this problem, the S2 value is 4 here, and you have to make this 0, and here the value is 1. How you can make this 0? how you can make this 0? 4 minus x into 1 should be equal to 0. So how you make that 0? By multiplying all the value of x3 what you got in with 4. Then when you can make this 0. No. So now what I'll write, I'll do a separate calculation for that. Please write down this value. So you can minimize this. Okay. Now I can minimize this. Now I can write old element. My old element that I'll write for S2, that is 3, 2, 4, 0, 1 and 120. These are my old element. Now what is my new element? Now the new element what I have is 1 by 3, 2 by 3, then 1, then 1 by 6, then 0 and then 80 by 3. Okay, now the constant here is 4. Now the constant here is 4. So you'll apply the formula old element minus 4 into new element. If you apply this formula, so 3 minus 4 by 3, so you'll get 5 by 3. So 9 minus 4 is 5. Then 2 minus 4 to the 8. 2 minus 8 by 3, you'll get minus 2 by 3. Then 4 minus 4, 0. Then minus 4 by 6, minus 2 by 3. Then you get 1. And that 820 minus 84 is 320 by 3. So you'll get 40 by 3. Clear, right? So just write down these values here. Just write down these values here. Just write down these values here. These values you got are 5 by 3, then minus 2 by 3, then again minus 2 by 3, and then 1, and after 1, 40 by 3. So write down these values here. Now write down these values here. Once you're done writing this value, find Zi. Zi is what? This is 400. This is what? 800. This is 1200. Then this is what? 200. This is 0. So how I found the Zi value? So to find the Zi value, what I need to do? 1200 into 1 by 3 plus 0 into 5 by 3. Then 1200 into 2 by 3 plus 0 into minus 2 by 3. Then 1200 into 1 plus 0 into 0. Then 1200 into 1 by 6 plus 0 into minus 2 by 3. So like this you can find Zi value. Once you're done with Zi, now you can find Ci minus Zi. Once you're done with Zi, you can find Ci minus Zi. So once you're done with Zi, you can find Ci minus Zi. So Ci minus Zi. So Ci minus Zi, if you find, you can see this Ci minus Zi. So this is Ci. 500 minus 400, that is 100. Then 600 minus 800, minus 200. Then 1200 minus 1200, 0. Then 0 minus 200, minus 200. Then 0. So out of all Ci minus Zi, see the value which is most positive. So the value which is most positive is 100. Means 100 correspond to what? X1. Means now X1 will enter into the solution. So if X1 will enter into the solution, now if X1 will enter into the solution, then X1 will either replace X3 or either it will replace S2. So that depends on the theta value. Find the theta. So theta is 80 divided by 1 by 3. So you'll get 80. And 40 divided by 5 by 3. you'll get 8. So see the theta, which is the minimum. So which is the minimum? 8. So means 8 correspond to what? 8 correspond to what variable? So it means 8 correspond to what variable? 8 correspond to S2. What that means? It means S2 will exit the solution, and in place of S2, X1 will come into the solution. Now what I will do? So now what I'll do? Now X1 coefficient is 1200. Now in play, now X1, X3 coefficient is 1200. X1 will come, X1 coefficient is 500. Now X1 will come. Now when X1 is coming into the solution, so what is your pivot element? So X1, this is your pivot element, you can see. So you can see your pivot element, this is your pivot element, 5 by 3. So divide all the element by 5 by 3. So if you divide all the element by 5 by 3, you'll get 1. That minus 2 by 3 by 5 by 3, you'll get minus 2 by 5. Then 0. Then minus 2 by 3 by 5 by 3, minus 2 by 5. And then you'll get 3 by 5. Then 40, then you'll get 8. So this is your new element, what you got. So this is your new element, what you got. Now to find the value of x3. Now to find the value of x3. Now when I'm finding the value of x3, I'll use them as a new element. Now when I'll find the value of x3, I'll use them for my new element. Okay, now let me rub this value. We can do this value here. Now I need the value of x3. In order to find the value of x3, I need the old value of x3. So what are the old value of x3? These are the old value of x3. Now these are the old value of x3. I need this value. Now these are the old value of x3. So I need this value. These are the old value of x3. So I need this value. Now along with this value, so now this value will become my, now this value will be my old element. Now this value is my old element, and this value would be my new element. Okay, and the constant, what will be your constant here? Now what will be your constant? So your constant for this, the constant for this would be 1 by 3. Why 1 by 3? Because the value corresponding to x1 is 1. You have to make this value 0. You have to make this value 0. So how will you make this value 0? You think no. So think, how will you make this value 0? So this is 1 by 3. 1 by 3 minus constant into 1. So what should be the constant? Because constant is the element which is corresponding to the pivot element. So the constant here is 1 by 3. Okay, now let me minimize this. So let me minimize this. Now I'll find my calculation. So old element. So your old element is 1 by 3, then 2 by 3, then 1, 1 by 3, 2 by 3, 1, then 1 by 6, then 0, and then 80 by 3. And your new element, what you got is 1, minus 2 by 5, 0, again minus 2 by 5, then 3 by 5, and then 8. And the constant, what you can see here, is 1 by 3. So the constant is the value which is corresponding to the pivot element. So the value corresponding to the pivot element is called as constant. So the constant here would be 1 by 3. So we'll use the formula. That old element minus constant into new element. So here this becomes 0. So this is 2 by 3 minus minus plus 1 by 3 into 2 by 5. this would be 2 by 3 plus 2 by 15. So if I take LCM, if I take 15 as the LCM, so you get 10 plus 2, 12. So 12 by 15 is 4 by 5. Then this is 1 because this is 1 by 6 minus minus plus 1 by 3 into 2 by 5. You get 1 by 6 plus 2 by 15. So 15 to the 30. So this is 5 plus 2 into 2, 4. This is 9 by 30. 9 by 30 means 3 by 10. Then this is 0 minus 1 by 3 into 3 by 5. So you get minus 1 by 5. And this is 80 by 3 minus 8 by, so you'll get 72 by 3. 72 by 3 means what? 24 3s are 72, na? 24 3s are 72. So 2s are 114. So these are your values. You got this value. Those values what you got: 0, 4 by 5, 1, 3 by 10, minus 1 by 5 and 24. Please write down these values somewhere. So this is the calculation what we have done. Constant in this case is 1 by 3. Please write down this. Please write down this. Then I believe you have written down these values. I believe you have written down these values. So now let me put this value here. So 0, 4 by 5, please write somewhere. 0, 4 by 5. So 0, 4 by 5, 0, 4 by 5, then 1, then 3 by 10, 1, then 3 by 10, minus 1 by 5, and then 24. Write down these values here. The value what you got there, write down these values are the new value of X3. These are the new value of X3. Write down these values. Done with writing, no? Everyone done with your writing. Now what you can do, based on this you'll find your ZI. Based on this you'll find your ZI. What is your ZI? ZI for this would be 500. For this would be 12 fours. Now see this. This is 1200 into 4. So 12 fours, you'll get 4800 minus 1000. Minus 1000 means 3800 divided by 5 means 735, 760. So we'll get this value called 760. Now this would be 1200. Now this value would be 12 threes are 3600. 1200 into 3, 3600. Then this is minus 1000. Minus 1000 means 1600. No, sorry. 3600 minus 1000 is 2600. Divide by 5. So that would be 520. So to 12, this is okay. Sorry, this is 10za. I'm very sorry. So this is 12 threesa. So I can write this as what I can write. This 1200 into 3 by 10. So this is 120 into 3. Sorry, this is 120 into 3. That is 360. This is 360 and this is minus 200. 5, sorry. So 500 minus 2. So minus 200. So this would be 160. Okay. So 160. So this would be 160. Okay. Now this would be, here the denominator is 5 in both the case. So you can write 1200 into 1200 minus 1 minus 1200 plus 1500 means 300. 300 by 5. 300 by 5 means 60. Done. Na? So like this you can find Zi value. Thank you, Devraj. Uh, I did not see that 10 there. So now you can find Ci minus Zi. Ci minus Zi. So Ci minus Zi. Ci minus Zi. So that is 500 minus 500, 0. 600 minus 170 is 160. Then 1200 minus 1200, 0. 0 minus 160 minus 160, and this is 60. So you'll do this work, you'll do this exercise, you do this exercise till the time you will not get Ci minus Zi either 0 or negative. I got 0 or negative means I'm done. So what is the Zi value I can get? Zi value I can get is 1200 into 24. So 1224 is how much? 12 into 24 is how much? 12 into 24, 48, 24. So that is 288. 28800. Then this is 500 into 8. So 500 into 8, 40, then 20. So 4000. So 4000. So this is 32,800. So the Zi value you get is 32,800. So this is your final answer. You can cross verify with calculator the value what you got. So the value what you got, that you can do, that is 1200 into 24 plus 500 into 8. So if you do, you'll get 32,800. So this is the maximum Z, and this is the value of X3. This is the value of X1. So finally, the answer you got is maxima value of Z is equal to 32,800, where the value of X1 you're getting is 8, X2 is 0 because X2 is not here, and X3 is equal to 24. Done. And you will get 15 marks for this. So this is 15 marks question for you. So you can see such a easy problem. Anyone have doubt for this? Anyone, any doubt? Last part, Shruti, last part means what? What your doubt? Last part means what calculation? Zi, this maximum, this calculation, like 32,000. I'll do that. So 30. See, Shruti. So the way you find the Zi value, so like the same way you can find the Zi value. This is 1200. This is 24. Okay, so this value RHS you have to find. That is your maximum Z value. So that is 1200 into 24 plus 500 into 8. Now, So for what you do this question as a homework. This question number 8 is your homework. Question number 8 is your homework. Question number 8 is your homework. So question number 8 is your homework. You have to do this question. Make sure whatever the value you will get, we'll discuss this value. Whatever the value you get, we'll discuss this value with you. So do this question. Question number 8 here you can see. Any other question on simplex? This question number, if you want, I'll send you this question paper right now. Already I've sent you 2015. Sorry, June, July 2015, question number 8. So that is your homework. So I'll write down somewhere. So June, July 2015, question number 8 is your homework. And then any other question? And which year is this? 2017. 2017, question number 2017, question number 10. 2017, question number 10. So these two are your homework. Do these two questions. These are your homework. So I'll send you this question paper in your group so that there should not be any confusion. So your homework are 2015, question number 8 and 2017, question number 10. So both the problem are of simplex method. Solve this problem. Tomorrow we'll do Big M method. Tomorrow we'll discuss with Big M method or penalty method. So study about penalty method or Big M method for tomorrow class and do these two questions as your homework. Okay. So guys, it's the time that I should wind up the class, because if I start another problem, then it will take another half an hour or more than that to complete that. So I hope you are having great time all together. And Shruti has sent me the attendance also. So all those who are present, so they will get the attendance. Every day I take the attendance and send to Manjesh sir. Okay, so be regular, be attentive, watch the video. Every time I take a class, I record the class and send you the videos with that intention that you will watch that video. But I see hardly few people watching the video. Also your friends and all who all are doing MBA, you can forward these videos to them. So for their knowledge and for their better development or whatever XYZ reason, so they can refer that. For operation research, you can refer Kalavati, you can refer JK Sharma, or you can refer Srinivasan. Any book you can refer. It all depends on you. In case of any doubt, please come back to me and ask me as much doubts as you can. So guys, let's wind up the class. It was nice teaching you all. Take care. God bless you. Bye.